Hey folks, how's it going? A little bit of a different video today. I'm going to expound a little bit upon what I spoke about over the weekend, in case you didn't watch that whole video where I spoke about uh, my thoughts about Bitcoin 2024, the conference in Nashville, and some other bigger issues that face the crypto space that were simply confirmed at that conference, and in what's been happening in general in the crypto space since months and years. So, ready? It's not going to be that long. I'm just going to kind of give you my thoughts that I've synthesized, hopefully rather succinctly, for me anyway. And this is today's installment of it because I'm sure I'm going to talk about this more. But here we go. This is the first synthesized version after some days of mulling it over and writing other things and kind of cobbling the thoughts together. So, people in the crypto space have forgotten about the primary purpose of Bitcoin and crypto. If you want the TLDR, it's basically keep crypto decentralized and specifically out of the hands of massive whales, financial institutions, and governments. Most people only care about price go up, forgetting that the primary purpose of crypto is to increase people's freedom from the systems and authorities and powers that keep people down and out. I have been saying this for years because obviously that is the purpose of crypto. I've been saying this from the very beginning of Bitcoin's existence, and I've been saying it for decades before that with cryptography. And I've been saying the following for a long time too. Having massive whales and financial institutions and governments in Bitcoin and crypto is bad for crypto and Bitcoin. Having them control most of the Bitcoin and crypto is bad for Bitcoin and crypto. When crypto is mostly controlled by centralized authorities and institutions, then it fails to function as a censorship-resistant device, and it is not permissionless. Those two aspects alone mean that a centrally controlled cryptocurrency fails to provide more freedom to people. And it gets worse. When centralized powers control most of a cryptocurrency, then it is also not mobile, because said centralized powers may be able to limit its mobility, even if some users keep their cryptocurrencies in self-custodial wallets. The vast majority of the people do not and probably will not. And yes, it gets even worse. When centralized powers control most of a crypto, that means that it is not immutable. That translates into when authorities can easily control 51% or more of the hash power that runs the network, then they can change the ledger without anyone else's permission. That means that the network has failed and is not secure. That means that you cannot trust the network to be safe, reliable, consistent, or verifiable. And you're going to tell me, well, miners aren't government controlled, to which I'll say, yet. It's only a matter of time before centralized powers take over mining operations. And they'll do it more and more. Just like they confiscated hundreds of thousands of coins from Silk Road. Just like they confiscated tons of other coins from other operations in the United States and around the world. How do you think most governments have acquired most of the bitcoins they have? They did it through confiscation, which is a polite way of saying government-authorized theft. Remember that old Bitcoin saying, don't trust, verify? Well, centralized powers now, having a huge share of the bitcoins and aiming to take control of most of the bitcoins soon, means that the network is failing. while crypto and Bitcoin had won in that the powers that be now largely accept it increasingly because they see that their interests are increasingly aligned with it, Bitcoin and crypto have also lost. Because most of the coins are now in the hands of centralized institutions and authorities. Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville and all the top speakers there underscored that fact when they said they would take more control. And the audience proved that they only care about price go up when they cheered on those speakers saying those things. Frankly, the best thing now would be for retail investors and retail traders to start to get into altcoins that may or may not even exist yet. Privacy coins are a good start, but they're not the only thing needed, especially as it is probable that at least some of those networks may have some exploits that are already known to certain centralized authorities. These should not allow whales and financial institutions and governments to own any or to own more than a low or normal amount of it, just like the average retail investor or trader will be able to obtain normally. This is not some impossible model. Consider the Ben & Jerry's ice cream company. Ben & Jerry's ice cream famously had a similar model wherein the founders could not earn more than some number of times that of the lowest paid person in the company. In other words, if the CEO made, $500,000 a year, right, that could only be 10x more than, let's say, the lowest person who earned at $50,000. Or whatever the number of X was, it doesn't matter. But they had a regulated way to maintain it so that the person who earned the least did not earn some insane amount less than the people at the top. They distributed their wealth in a fair and equitable way. And that worked out very nicely for their company as it grew into a massively successful and profitable ice cream company. Unfortunately, after some time, the company was sold to Unilever, a massive international corporation. And that is when, in my opinion, the company began to fall away from its primary purpose and promise to its employees. So while the basis of that model is a good example for a start, the end of that example is to be a word to the wise, a word of caution, not to sell out and give up on the primary purpose and promise to the users of something like a crypto project built to actually give people more freedom. If we want to have a thriving crypto ecosystem that actually increases people's freedom, then we need to keep decentralized cryptocurrencies decentralized. And as I said before, you cannot name a single government on earth which is not abusing digital technology, including cryptocurrencies and blockchain and Web3 and all these other things, in order to remove and reduce people's freedom. They're doing everything they can. They're scrambling like mad to get as much of a share of the pie as they can before it's too late. Because they know that cryptocurrencies that are decentralized can actually give people freedom. And they do fear that. But it's not up to them to determine what people decide to do when they build open source networks to share information and exchange values in a secure way, in an immutable way, in an uncensorable way, in a permissionless way, in a mobile way, in a divisible way, in a lovely way that Bitcoin and other real decentralized cryptocurrencies are technically capable of doing. The failure of Bitcoin and certain other decentralized cryptocurrencies, like Ethereum and others, is that the protocol does not have a function to block whales, massive financial institutions, and governments from acquiring and controlling the bulk of the network. And because of that, it is not the people's coin. That was a nice idea, but Bitcoin failed to protect itself significantly or even adequately, as did other networks, including Ethereum. And they failed in their primary purpose and promise to people, which is you can use this network and you'll have more freedom. Well, at this point, in 2024, that is no longer the case. Something needs to significantly change if that is to be the case again with those cryptocurrencies, but good luck, because the people who have all the money and all the power are certainly not going to give up on this particular cryptocurrency set of coins that they own, since they believe that this is the future of money and financial transactions and values transactions. And this is the future of digital freedom. And they don't want you to have any. They want your Bitcoin. If you don't have much of it, and if you're not a trader, and if you don't earn Bitcoin, and if you don't buy and sell it regularly, and know how to increase your holdings by buying bottoms and selling tops, then you shouldn't sell your Bitcoin. Certainly not to governments and whales and financial institutions. But to all the billions of people who don't even have any, frankly, you're better off not getting into the space or into those cryptos. You're better off doing research and figuring out what are the best coins that you can actually invest in, where the government and other centralized powers and authorities will not interfere with your freedom. You can't name me a bank in the world that doesn't attempt to interfere with its customers' freedoms. You put money in a bank, it's their money. It's not your money. You put money in the hands of a brokerage firm, it's their money, it's not your money. You put hands on a centralized exchange to trade it, it's their money, it's not your money. If you're a real crypto person and you actually want to trade, you should do things like peer-to-peer exchanges, peer-to-peer transactions, right? And you can do that directly, peer-to-peer with people you know, offline, whatever, or you can use decentralized exchanges or DEXs, or you can trade cryptocurrency directly with peers on the cryptocurrency network. But again, if you don't know who's on the other side of that exchange, and it could well be an authority figure, authority, government, entity, financial institution, big bank, giant whale, you have no idea who it is. So there is some risk, albeit low at the moment, but that risk will only grow as more people use DEXs. There's some risk you'll be giving away your Bitcoin or your altcoins or whatever to people you probably wouldn't rather give it to. And it doesn't have to be your government that you are upset with. Maybe you love your government, but maybe you don't like other governments. Well, then maybe you shouldn't use a network where they can take control of your assets. So, I said I'd keep it short and sweet. That's going to be it for now. If you want to stay tuned to this, know that I am definitely going to continue diving deeper into this topic, because I think it's important. If we want to have a thriving crypto ecosystem that actually increases people's freedoms, then we need to use and possibly develop, if it doesn't already exist, and from the ones I've seen, I'm not yet fully decided on that, but it looks like I need to create yet another cryptocurrency that is decentralized. I've already created some. My idea is to flood the zone in order for people to have many options for truly decentralized cryptocurrencies, but they'll be built with capacities to make sure that they cannot be taken over by centralized forces. So that's going to be it for now. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you heard, leave a comment. Like it, whatever. Do the thing. But I really want to hear back and hear what you guys have to say about this, because I'm sick and tired of people saying that they love crypto because it gives them all this freedom, but the only freedom that they can speak of is price go up. They have more money in their pockets when it goes up. Whoop-de-woo. That isn't the only freedom in life that matters. In fact, it's far from it. That's in fact one of the least freedom-related things it does. So thanks again. Happy days. And good times. See you later.